The twisted remains of a once beautiful McLaren 720S sat abandoned in the corner of a salvage yard, covered in dust, rainwater, and the judgment of everyone who walked past it. Its front end was crushed beyond recognition. The windshield was shattered. The carbon fiber body was torn open like a wounded animal. Most people saw scrap metal worth less than the cost of repairs. They laughed when it was sold for just $500. But one man looked at the wreck and saw something entirely different. He saw hope. He saw a second chance. And he saw a future for his little family. Before we begin this incredible story, take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who believes in second chances, and subscribe to the channel. Stories like this remind us that sometimes the most broken things can become the most beautiful. The sun was beginning to set when Daniel Carter parked his old pickup truck outside the salvage auction. At 38 years old, Daniel looked much older. Years of hard work had left deep lines across his face. His hands were rough from fixing engines, welding frames, and working long nights at his small garage. Life had not been kind to him. 3 years earlier, his wife had passed away after a sudden illness, leaving him alone to raise their 8-year-old daughter, Lily. Since then, every day had been a struggle between keeping the garage alive and being the father his daughter deserved. Bills piled up constantly. Customers came and went. Some months, Daniel barely made enough money to pay rent. Yet despite everything, he never allowed himself to quit. Lily was the reason. Every morning, he woke up determined to give her a better future. That evening, while walking through rows of damaged vehicles, Daniel noticed the destroyed McLaren 720S. Even beneath the damage, he could see the car's incredible shape. It had once been worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. The auction paperwork revealed a short story. The supercar had been involved in a severe highway crash. Insurance inspectors declared it a total loss. Repair estimates exceeded the car's value according to their calculations. The owner accepted the insurance payout, and the vehicle was sent to auction. Most buyers ignored it. The repairs looked impossible. Replacement parts alone would cost a fortune. Yet Daniel couldn't stop staring. He walked around the car repeatedly, examining every damaged panel, inspecting every bent bracket, checking every connection. Then he noticed something that everyone else had missed. The engine wasn't destroyed. The heart of the car was still alive. The chassis damage appeared reparable. The suspension could be rebuilt. It would take countless hours, creativity, and determination. But it could be done. As bidding started, nobody showed much interest. The numbers stayed low. $400. $450. $500. Sold. The crowd chuckled as Daniel signed the paperwork. Several people shook their heads. They believed he had just thrown away money he couldn't afford to lose. Even Daniel wasn't entirely sure they were wrong. When the damaged McLaren arrived at his tiny garage, Lily ran outside to see it. The look on her face said everything. The car appeared hopeless. The front was mangled. The doors barely opened. Broken glass covered the interior. Yet Daniel smiled. For the first time in months, he felt excited. Over dinner that night, he calculated the risks. The garage account was nearly empty. The project could fail completely. If he made mistakes, he could lose everything. But something deep inside told him to try. The next morning, the challenge began. Day 1 was demolition. Daniel carefully removed damaged panels, disconnected wiring, and cataloged every component. He filled notebooks with measurements and repair plans. By day 3, exhaustion had already arrived. He worked regular customer jobs during the day. After customers left, he worked on the McLaren until midnight or later. Sometimes he slept only 4 hours. Sometimes less. Yet every evening, Lily sat nearby doing homework while watching her father work. The garage became their shared world. She handed him tools. He explained how engines worked. For the first time since losing her mother, she seemed genuinely happy. As days passed, obstacles appeared everywhere. Replacement parts were expensive. Some were impossible to find. Others required weeks of shipping time. Daniel couldn't afford delays. Instead, he searched junkyards, online forums, and specialty shops across the country. He bought damaged components and rebuilt them. He repaired pieces others would have thrown away. His creativity became his greatest weapon. During the second week, disaster struck. While inspecting structural sections beneath the front frame, Daniel discovered hidden damage worse than expected. The repairs would require specialized equipment. Equipment he didn't own. The cost nearly broke him. For several hours, he simply sat alone in the garage staring at the damaged frame. The dream seemed finished. The numbers no longer made sense. Reality was winning. That night, after Lily went to sleep, Daniel considered selling the project for parts. At least he could recover some money. At least he could stop risking everything. But then he found an old photograph. It showed his late wife standing beside him years earlier when they first opened the garage. Both were smiling. Neither had much money. Neither knew what the future would bring. Yet they believed in building something meaningful. Daniel stared at the photo for a long time. Then he returned to the garage. Quitting was no longer an option. The following morning, he called favors from old friends. Former mechanics. Fabricators. Bodywork specialists. People he had helped over the years. One by one, they stepped forward. Some loaned equipment. Others donated spare parts. A few volunteered their time. Not because of the McLaren. Because of Daniel. Years of kindness were finally coming back to him. The project gained momentum again. Day after day, the supercar slowly returned to life. Bent metal became straight. Destroyed panels became smooth. Broken systems began functioning. What once looked like scrap started looking like a car again. Meanwhile, social media unexpectedly became involved. A customer posted photos of Daniel's progress online. Within days, thousands of people were following the restoration. Videos of the rebuild spread rapidly. Viewers became fascinated. People couldn't believe a struggling single father was attempting something so ambitious. Support poured in. Messages arrived from around the world. Some offered advice. Others offered encouragement. Many simply wanted to see him succeed. As the 20th day approached, the pressure intensified. The engine still hadn't been started. Electrical systems remained unfinished. Interior components needed installation. Paintwork remained incomplete. 30 days suddenly felt impossible. Daniel pushed harder than ever. Coffee became fuel. Sleep became optional. His hands developed cuts and bruises. His body constantly ached. Yet every time he wanted to stop, he looked at Lily. She believed completely. Children often see possibilities adults miss. And Lily never doubted him. On day 26, a breakthrough finally arrived. The wiring was complete. Fuel systems were connected. Cooling systems were tested. Everything was ready. The moment had come. Daniel turned the key. Nothing happened. His heart sank. Hours of troubleshooting followed. Connections were checked repeatedly. Sensors were inspected. Every possibility was examined. Finally, near midnight, he discovered a tiny electrical fault. One damaged connector. One simple problem. One final obstacle. With trembling hands, he repaired it. Then he tried again. The engine roared to life. The sound exploded through the garage. Powerful. Beautiful. Alive. For several seconds, Daniel simply stood there staring. Then tears filled his eyes. Not because of the car. Because of what it represented. Proof that persistence still mattered. Proof that impossible wasn't always impossible. Proof that broken things could heal. Lily ran into the garage wearing pajamas, awakened by the sound. When she saw the engine running, she threw her arms around her father. Neither said anything. They didn't need to. The moment spoke for itself. The final 4 days became a race against time. Paint was polished. Panels were aligned. Interior details were completed. Every hour mattered. Every minute counted. Then, exactly 30 days after buying the wrecked McLaren for $500, Daniel rolled the finished car into the sunlight. People gathered outside the garage. Neighbors. Customers. Friends. Supporters. Everyone stared in disbelief. The transformation seemed impossible. The supercar looked stunning. Glossy paint reflected the morning sun. Every body panel fit perfectly. The engine performed flawlessly. It appeared showroom ready. Many people refused to believe it was the same vehicle. Videos of the reveal exploded across the internet. Millions watched. News outlets shared the story. Automotive channels featured the rebuild. Suddenly, the struggling mechanic nobody noticed became an inspiration to countless people. Then came the most unexpected moment of all. A collector contacted Daniel with an offer. After inspecting the vehicle personally, he proposed purchasing the rebuilt McLaren for a price Daniel had never imagined. The offer exceeded $200,000. Daniel read the number several times. It felt unreal. Just 1 month earlier, he had been worrying about unpaid bills. Now, his entire life could change. The sale was completed days later. For the first time in years, financial stress disappeared. The garage debts were paid. The building was upgraded. New equipment was purchased. Most importantly, Daniel could finally provide security for Lily. But the money wasn't the true victory. The real victory was discovering what determination could accomplish. The wrecked McLaren became far more than a car. It became a symbol. A reminder that appearances can be deceiving. A reminder that value often hides beneath damage. A reminder that people, like machines, deserve second chances. Before we reach the ending, I have a special request for you. Comment below with the words, "Never give up," if you believe that even the most broken situations can be rebuilt with faith, hard work, and determination. Years later, visitors entering Daniel's expanded garage would notice a framed photograph hanging near the entrance. It showed the destroyed McLaren exactly as it appeared on the day he bought it. Beside it hung a second photograph showing the completed supercar. Underneath was a simple message. Broken does not mean finished. Every customer who saw those words understood their meaning. Because life damages all of us at some point. Dreams crash. Plans fail. Hearts break. Yet our worst moments do not define our future. What matters is the courage to keep rebuilding. Daniel's story spread because people recognized themselves in it. Not everyone owns a supercar. Not everyone restores vehicles. But everyone has faced something that seemed beyond repair. And everyone hopes for another chance. As the sun set each evening, Daniel would watch Lily laughing outside the garage and remember the wreck that changed everything. $500 bought a destroyed car. But 30 days of determination created something priceless. A future. A family restored. And proof that hope is often hiding where nobody else thinks to look. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who needs encouragement today, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps bring more inspiring stories like this to people around the world. Because sometimes, the greatest transformations begin with something everyone else has already given up on. And sometimes, all it takes is one person willing to believe.